Alan Watts once spoke about the way human beings chase power, freedom, and progress while often forgetting that the real meaning of life is not found in endless struggle, but in a harmonious flow with existence itself. He painted visions of a future where technology would not enslave us but liberate us, where innovation would not simply mean bigger machines or faster gadgets but the realization of an idea, an awakening of something we once thought impossible. For years, those words floated through the minds of dreamers, philosophers, and inventors, like sparks waiting to ignite into a flame. And now the spark has arrived in the form of one of the most radical inventions of our time. Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car, a vehicle that promises to run forever, without fuel, without charging, without dependency on the systems we thought were unshakable. Imagine for a moment a world where the car in your driveway never has to stop for gas, never needs to plug into a charging station, never begs for electricity. A world where energy is no longer a leash but a birthright. This is not some science fiction story or utopian dream.
This is real.
It is here. And it is everything that Alan Watts, in his poetic wisdom, hinted at when he said that the universe is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be experienced. What greater mystery than a car that powers itself, a machine that breaks the laws we thought were unbreakable, a symbol of freedom rolling down highways across the world. Maxwell Chikumbutso, the Zimbabwean innovator who has shaken the very foundation of technology, has become the face of this revolution. For years, the big automakers told us the future was electric, but they also tied us to wires, chargers, and infrastructure worth billions. Tesla told us about superchargers. Governments promised us charging grids. Oil companies laughed and invested in both sides, ready to profit no matter what. But Maxwell looked at the problem differently. He dared to ask the forbidden question: what if a car didn't need charging at all? What if energy could be harvested, created, and sustained within the machine itself? That question turned into a design, and that design turned into a reality. A self-powered electric car that the world is only beginning to comprehend. Alan Watts often said that our culture is obsessed with control. We build systems to control nature, control society, control each other. But the greatest wisdom lies in learning to flow with the natural rhythm of life, not forcing it but joining it. And here lies the poetic twist: a self-powered car does not control energy, it flows with it. It turns the endless dance of forces into perpetual motion, not in the flawed sense of a machine that defies physics but in the awakened sense of a technology that captures the abundance already around us. It is almost as if Watts' vision has been translated into metal, wires, and wheels. A car that says, freedom does not need to be borrowed, it can be lived. Think about how much of our lives is chained to energy. Every trip, every journey, every ambition is budgeted around fuel. Families struggle with rising gas prices. EV owners spend nights worrying about charging stations. Entire nations wage wars for oil, control territories for pipelines, and enslave themselves to the idea that energy is scarce, precious, and worth killing for. And suddenly, this invention tears through that illusion. Suddenly, we are looking at a car that makes scarcity irrelevant. And when scarcity dies, so too does control. Alan Watts taught that the illusion of control is what makes humanity restless. But when you strip away the chains, what remains is peace. In some strange way, this self-powered car is not just technology, it is philosophy on wheels. Maxwell's car is not a gimmick. Videos, demonstrations, and early reports reveal a design that sustains its own energy. It looks like any modern electric vehicle, sleek and efficient, but under its skin is a system that generates its own power as it drives, a loop of innovation that could rewrite everything we know about transportation. Some call it the infinite car, others dismiss it as too good to be true. But that's exactly how every world-changing idea begins: ridiculed, doubted, mocked, until suddenly, it changes everything. Think of the Wright brothers when they spoke about flying machines. Think of Nikola Tesla when he dreamed of wireless energy. Think of Alan Watts when he suggested that the real progress of man would not be in doing more, but in realizing the harmony of what is already possible. Now think of Maxwell Chikumbutso, standing in the same lineage of dreamers who turned disbelief into destiny. But here is the irony: the world doesn't always welcome freedom. The industries that profit from scarcity see infinite energy as a threat, not a blessing. Oil giants, auto manufacturers, energy companies, entire empires stand to crumble if a car no longer needs fuel or charging. They spend billions to suppress, distract, and redirect attention. And yet, like a river that finds its way to the ocean, no matter how many rocks are in its path, the truth flows on. Alan Watts believed that the more we try to cling to control, the more it slips through our fingers. Maybe this car, this invention, is the slip that cannot be stopped. Maybe it is the truth that has found its time.
Picture the highway of America.
Picture millions of cars humming quietly, never stopping for gas, never plugging in, simply moving, flowing, alive. Picture entire neighborhoods unburdened by energy bills. Picture villages in Africa where electricity was once a dream, now driving cars without ever knowing scarcity. Picture a world where energy is not an economy but a companion, always there, always flowing.
This is not a fantasy.
This is the horizon Maxwell has drawn for us. And in that horizon, we hear the echo of Alan Watts saying, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. The self-powered car is not just a machine, it is the beginning of a new dance. Some will argue. Some will resist. Skeptics will demand equations, proofs, patents, and papers. Scientists will debate whether it violates thermodynamics, engineers will scratch their heads, and politicians will wait to see which way the wind blows. But beneath the noise, one fact remains unshakable: the car exists. It runs. It challenges the laws we worshipped, and it offers a glimpse of a future where those laws are not broken but expanded. As Alan Watts said, the only thing that makes life possible is permanent, intolerable uncertainty, not knowing what comes next. And what comes next could be the greatest leap humanity has taken since the invention of the wheel itself. We live in an age where most inventions are simply upgrades: faster phones, bigger screens, smarter apps. True revolutions are rare. But Maxwell's self-powered car is not an upgrade, it is a rebirth. It is the kind of invention that forces us to rethink everything from economics to ecology. What happens to oil markets when cars no longer need oil? What happens to power companies when families no longer need to plug in? What happens to geopolitics when energy is no longer a weapon? The questions stretch across every horizon. And as they do, they remind us that the future is not a straight line but a spiral, unfolding in ways we cannot predict but can only experience. Watts believed that life is not a journey with a destination but a play, a song, a dance. Maybe the self-powered car is the next verse of that song.